All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys see that? Okay, perfect. Um, yeah, so hello, we're going to be going over associate's degree and some other College of Technology programs as well that are available to high school students and kind of advising the students and how to do that. So we'll introduce ourselves real quickly and then get started. So I'm Amaya Mansfield, and I'm an early college transition advisor, specifically for Region 5. So that's going to include the schools south of Blackfoot, including Snake River, but not Blackfoot, all the way down to Malad and over to American Falls, Aberdeen, and then also homeschooled students. And my contact information is there as well. Yeah, so that's me.
And I am Cameron Sedlacek. I am the Early College Transition Advisor for Region 6. So that is schools north of Blackfoot, out to Driggs, and up to Salmon. And my contact information is here as well.
And I am Alyssa St. John. I'm the Director of CTE Advanced Opportunities. So I cover all of our College of Technology CTE programs. So that means that I advise any students in those programs, regardless of where they're coming from. And so I'm happy to work with your CTE students.
Perfect. So quickly, just of the different options that are available for the students to complete while they are in high school. The standard option is an Associate of Arts in University Studies. That's like just our main academic option that students will do while in the early college program. And we'll spend a lot of our time talking about this in particular. But there's also a few College of Tech programs, which I'll let Alyssa cover as well.
Yeah, so I've listed the ones that we've got established right now. We are always growing and trying to offer more, but right now these are the full, complete certificates that students can take. Some of them are only offered on ISU's in-person campus, but many of them students can also do online, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But we've got our basic technical certificates in early childhood care and education, materials testing and specification, pharmacy technology, and small business. And then we have two intermediate technical certificates in architectural drafting and mechanical drafting, and then an associate's degree in computer-aided design drafting. And then these are the other options through the College of Technology. These don't earn a certificate or degree while in high school, but they work towards the pathway of earning those certificates and degrees. And so they're listed here. I won't read them all off, but you can see right here all of these different options. One thing that I did want to note is that many students are able to take courses that are outside of these in things like we've had students go through our diesel program, our aircraft maintenance program, robotics, cosmetology, nail technician, even our LPN program, licensed practical nursing. So there's all of those types of opportunities. Those are kind of on a case-by-case basis. So it depends on students' availability, and many of them are in person. So they do typically have to be able to drive to campus. And the ones with stars next to them are the ones that are offered on our ISU Pocatello campus. So they're not specific only to Pocatello students, but students do have to be able to get themselves to campus in order to take those.
All right, so I'm going to go over the requirements for the Associate of Arts in University Studies. And there's quite a lot of parts to unpack. So I'll just take it step by step. And then obviously, if you have students that are interested in obtaining this, they'll just obviously take it one semester or a trimester, perhaps at a time. So the associate's degree in university studies, students are going to need 60 total credits to complete that. And that's going to be made up of a few different areas. So first of all is 37 general education credit requirements, and I'll go over gen eds in just a second. Next is going to be 15 major credit requirements. That's cut up into two areas. So 6 of those 15 have to come specifically from our College of Arts and Letters. The other 9 can come from our College of Arts and Letters, College of Education, College of Business, College of Science and Engineering, or the Kasiska Division of Health Sciences. And then if between all those things, if the student has not gotten up to that 60 credit requirement, then they just take however many classes as elective as needed just to get up to 60. So there really is a lot of flexibility and options for students. Sometimes they feel a little overwhelmed with all the options, which is where, of course, we come in to help advise and help them pick out classes. A couple other important things to note is that out of the 60 total credits, 15 of those have to be resident credits, meaning they have to be taken specifically through ISU. So while we do encourage students to take classes from other colleges as well as is offered in their schools, 15 credits do have to come specifically from us. And then the students must also have a cumulative GPA of a 2.0, which is a C average. And those classes really is the ISU classes that count. When they transfer credits from other schools, the GPA doesn't necessarily transfer, just the credit. So it's specifically those ISU classes that we're looking for that 2.0 GPA. So I just want to quickly go over Gen Eds really quickly. This is something that probably a lot of people are already familiar with, but I do want to highlight it because it is the bulk of the associate's degree in university studies. So there is Objective 1, which is, of course, written communication, English 1101 and 1102. Objective 2, oral communication, COM 1101. Objective 3, mathematical ways of knowing. This one we really like to work with students with because so many times their major requires a particular math class, so we want to make sure that they're in the correct math class. Objective 4 is humanistic and artistic ways of knowing. So students take 2 courses from this category in 2 different columns. So either fine arts and foreign language, fine arts and humanities, or foreign language and humanities. Then Objective 5, students also take 2 classes from Objective 5, which is scientific ways of knowing. One of those classes must have a lab. This is another one that sometimes majors will have specific requirements for as well. Really, all of these majors could have specific requirements. That's why it's so important for students to have an idea of what they'd like to do after they graduate so that, we're putting them in the correct classes for their future major. Objective 6, social and behavioral ways of knowing. So 2 classes need to be taken in this category as well from 2 different subjects. So a lot of students will take like US History 1 and 2. That's not going to fulfill Objective 6 because they'll need a class other than history from Objective 6 to finish fulfilling that. Then Objective 7 and 8, the student takes 1 class from either of these categories, not both. And then finally, Objective 9 is cultural diversity, and a student takes 1 class from Objective 9. So that's really the bulk of what the students are going to take for the associate's degree. And then I mentioned the 15 major credits, 6 of which specifically in the arts and humanities and/or social and behavioral science in our College of Arts and Letters. So I put a little graph of what subjects are within those and satisfy that requirement. And then, of course, the 9 additional credits from elsewhere in our university. And the restrictions on that are College of Technology classes, ACAD classes, PAC classes, and DAC classes. Those can be counted in our elective category, though, but they cannot count towards the 15 major credits. Which, of course, leads me to electives, which, like I said, if in between all those other classes, the student hasn't reached 60 credits, they'll just take however many is needed to get up to 60. We usually think that that'll be about 8 credits. So if a student is transferring credits from another institution and it does not transfer over as a specific class, they're still awarded the credits, just not a particular class, and that's where these will fit in, just as elective credits. So I'll let Alyssa go over some of the College of Tech degree requirements as well.
Because there are so many of my programs, I will just quickly go over these. So the early childhood care and education, this is a basic technical certificate. The students take 2 classes, one per semester, and it equals 12 credits. As part of this program, they are required to do a background check, and they need to earn an ALEKS test of 8 or higher, or 310 in the SAT, or if they've taken a math class that is equivalent to that, then that will count as well. And then in addition to the classes that they'll be taking, they will need to do practicum hours, which is 8 hours per week, working with kids up to age 5. So in many cases, school districts have a preschool or a Head Start or something like that. And so if students can get in there maybe once per, per day for like a course during their high school day, that would be perfect. But they would just need 8 hours of that per week. And then that would earn them a basic technical certificate, which they can use to then go out and work in the field once they graduate high school. And then I'm ready for that next slide. And then this one, this materials testing and specification, this is a basic technical certificate as well. It is 11 total credits. So they start with the materials testing 1 and materials theory, which are both done in their first semester. And then the CET 1125A materials testing 2 happens the spring semester of their they can do it both their junior or their senior year. So if they do it their junior year, then it would be fall and spring of junior year or fall and spring of senior year. They wouldn't earn it until they graduate high school, but they could start working through that. And then if they finish this, there are additional classes they can take in civil engineering technology. And so if they did this their junior year, they could complete those classes in their senior year. And the only requirement for this one is an ALEKS test of 30 or a 500 SAT math score. And then the next one is pharmacy technology. Right now, we only have this one established in school districts 91 and 93. But if you do have students who are interested, we are happy to look into the possibility of them taking these courses. They're almost fully online, but there are some labs that are in person. So they would need to be able to get to our in-person labs on the Pocatello campus. The 28 credits that they would take for this basic technical certificate are medical terminology, quite a few applied pharmacy technology classes and several labs with that, and then an employment strategies class as well. And then they again would need to score an ALEKS of 30 or higher and a 500 on the SAT. I did also fail to mention that they're required to do a background check, and they need to be vaccinated as well for this program in order to do their clinicals, which happen at the end. Those are one of the labs at the end of the basic technical certificate. The small business technology certificate is a newer option. All of these credit classes can be done online. And so I've got the list here of there are 5 classes that are required, and then 1 professional leadership development, 1 credit. It's not a structured class, but some kind of leadership. So if they're a member of BPA, or maybe they are a captain on their sports team, or if they have any kind of leadership in kind of their extracurricular areas, we can work with that in order to give them credit for that. And so that will be something that we will work with you to ensure that the students are getting credit for that. And the only requirement for this one is an ALEKS test score of 14 or a 360 SAT math score. The mechanical drafting, this is an intermediate technical certificate. This one is only available on our ISU Pocatello campus, and it's quite intense of a program. It's an intermediate technical certificate, and it takes 1 year. So the students are actually taking all of the same classes that our on-campus full-time college students are taking. And so they're in the classroom for 2 hours a day and then taking English and communication either at the high school or online, and then working through all of these programs or all of these classes. So you can see all of these here. The ALEKS test score for this one is a 30 or a 500 on the SAT. And then the architectural drafting is the same program as mechanical, except it's the other kind of side of the coin to our CAD program. So this is another intermediate technical certificate. It consists of 28 total credits. You can see all of these classes on here. Same principle where they'll also need English and communication, and then the same ALEKS test score, and it is only available on the ISU Pocatello campus. And then both of those two intermediate technical certificates lead into the associate's degree of computer-aided design drafting, which is 66 total credits. And so in addition to the general education English and communication classes that they will be taking as part of their intermediate technical certificates, they will also need objective 3, 5, and 6. And it's open on which courses they take within those objectives. Objective 5 is the science objective. And so we recommend that they take, there's a certain class that we recommend, but if they've taken another class, they can take that. They don't need the lab part of it for objective 5, which is different than the associate's degree in general studies. So that is a difference where they only need the science class and not necessarily the lab. And then the same entry level requirements, and this one is only in Pocatello as well. If you have questions about it, this one's a little bit tricky. I'm always available for any questions.
Okay. So I do want to mention that a lot of the time students can take a lot of classes in their high school, obviously depending on what classes are available through your school, whether it be through ISU or through other colleges. But if they're going to get the associate's degree, and this is probably true for a lot of the College of Tech programs, Alyssa mentioned which ones you have to come on campus, and for the most part, you have to take those College of Tech classes like through the College of Tech. But even for the University Studies Associate's degree, students are likely going to have to take classes directly through ISU, either online or via Zoom or coming onto our campus. So registration for these classes is very easy. They'll do it exactly the same as they register for their high school dual enrollment classes using dual enroll. Um, we do have a list of classes that are available each semester on our website. And so we actually have it open for the fall 2025 semester schedule just opened up. So you can find the classes each semester that are available on our website. If there's a certain class that a student needs that is not on the list of early college classes, they can submit a course request to open up an e-section. So I put a link to the form. I now realize that I probably should have put a QR code, but it is on our website as well. And in order to do the course request, the student needs to know the course name and number of the class, the section number, the CRN. They must have made sure that the class is not already full. And if there's any prerequisites, they must have already met those. So once they submit the request, that'll go to our director for approval. And if that gets approved, then we reach out to the department to see if the department will approve the request as well. At that point, we'll reach out to the student to let them know, yay, it's been approved and you can go ahead and register, or unfortunately, it's been denied. Alyssa, did you want to mention something here as well, or just that if you're a College of Tech student, work with you?
Yeah, just a quick note, because the College of Tech programs are so nuanced and specific, the process works just a little bit differently. And so because students have to meet with me in order to take those classes, regardless of whether or not they're offered, on that list. Just have the student, or you can reach out to me directly rather than filling out that course request form for the College of Technology classes. So yeah.
Perfect. A couple things that I do want to mention about taking an on-campus or online class through us. All students that take an on-campus or online class through ISU do have to attend a mandatory orientation. When we see that a student has been registered, we will reach out about that orientation. And if they don't complete it, they'll be removed from the class. So there is one in the fall and one in the spring. We usually do in-person options for students that can make it to campus for the orientation, which we recommend because it's a lot more hands-on. But if they can't make it in person, we do usually offer an online option as well, which they will do on campus. And then if the student wants to take classes over the summer, they do have to have completed an on-campus or online class with us in a previous spring or fall semester. Because these classes, they're oftentimes like early 8-week or late 8-week classes. They're very fast paced. And so we want to make sure that a student has had that on-campus experience previously so that we're setting them up for success. So if they haven't taken a class in the fall or the spring on campus before, then they won't be able to take a summer course. And then I do quickly want to mention this is included in the orientation that students have to do. But I want to highlight it because I think as CCAs and counselors, this is information that you need to know and pass on to your students is that recently ISU switched over to what's called the book bundle for students to get textbooks. And students can choose to opt out of this if they don't think it's going to be beneficial for them. Basically, what it is the university will charge students a flat rate of, I can't remember exact, $24.75, I think, per credit. And then the bookstore bundles up their books for them and they can come pick it up. Sometimes that's beneficial for students, but they really need to be doing research on the textbooks required for their classes to see if that's going to be the best option for them or if they would be better off opting out of that and getting their textbooks themselves. So just keep that in mind. We are always available to help students kind of figure out the cost of their textbooks and figure out what would be the best option for them. Like I said, all that information is in the orientation, and we do send out communications about it. But again, I think important for you to know as well. So, and then Alyssa, you had something to say here as well.
Yeah, and another note with the book bundle, and I'll mention this later. All College of Technology students who are taking courses that are taught by ISU faculty have their textbooks and tools paid for. They're able to rent those through us, through my Perkins grant, and so they would always want to opt out of that book bundle. And so I try to help students as I'm meeting with them opt out, but if you can help them with that as well, that way no one falls through the cracks. But then I also just wanted to mention that all students who are interested in College of Technology courses have a requirement to meet with me. If those are courses that are being taught at the high school by high school teachers, that's not a requirement. But for students who are taking courses taught by ISU faculty, that is one of the prerequisites for them to take those courses is to have a meeting with me. And then they will also attend the orientation that the early college office puts on. But that way we can make sure that they are following the pathway for their courses. And because the College of Tech's pathways are so set in stone, kind of, you have to take this class, then this class. And so we just like to establish that relationship immediately before they start their classes.
Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute button for a second there. So as I mentioned, probably a lot of students are going to be taking classes from other institutions that offer classes at your school, CSI, CWI, Boise State. all the options, right? And I already went over this a little bit, but those classes can be transferred over to ISU to use towards their associate's degree. Um, and they'll do that at the very end of their senior year. They'll send an official transcript, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But if students ever have questions about the transferability of a course, I did add a couple of resources here. We have ISU's transfer evaluation system, which is that first QR code on the left. The state of Idaho's transfer portal website, which is the one in the middle. That one isn't always updated, so some of the information on that might be a little outdated. So I would say use the others before you use that one. And then finally, the DegreeWorks transfer equivalency self-service, which is the QR code on the right. That one is my favorite transfer resource because students can plug in classes and it's gonna plug it in straight to where it would fit in with their degree. So those are just a couple of resources where students can check transferability. Or I also provided the contact information for our registrar's office. If ever you're unsure about something or a class isn't showing up, you can always contact them and they can tell you how it would transfer. And then AP exams, I also added the link to the credit by exam page, which will show what class students can get credit for at ISU based on their AP exam scores.
All right. So if you have an early college student who wants to pursue their Associate of Arts in University Studies, the first thing they need to do is complete the intent form. And I'm going to go into these in a bit more detail in the next couple of slides. The second thing they need to do is complete the Focus 2 career assessments. Then they'll need to attend a parent information meeting in either November or March, and then finally meet with an early college program transition advisor for a degree audit. That's what the process works, or how the process works, very bare bones. Did you want to jump in here, Alyssa?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that it's clear that for College of Technology students, the process is a little bit different. We don't have you do those steps that the Associate of Arts in University Studies do, just because you will have been working with your students, I should say, will have already been working with me. And so we are already going to be talking about those things, and I will already know a student's intentions. And so it's a continual advising relationship that I have with those students. So when they get to that, choosing a College of Technology option almost always means that they're probably looking already at what their career is. That's why they were drawn to these programs. And so we kind of run our dual credit program with the idea that it's kind of leading somewhere. It doesn't have to. The classes can just be exploratory, but they're so, packed in there and just a pathway that typically that's just kind of our mindset. So my students, I already have them set towards a degree, and then they will end up becoming degree seeking if they have met all of their requirements during that final semester of their program. So that's kind of how it works on this end with the College of Technology.
Okay, like I said, the first thing the students need to do is fill out the intent to pursue associate's degree form. I've got the QR code here that they can scan just to see that. Once they do that, we will get their contact information. We will reach out to that student. We will set up a meeting. It's often via Zoom, where we will go over all of the details of the associate's degree, what it entails, how long it'll take, what should they expect, that sort of thing. Just to familiarize them with the program and make sure it is something that they want to at least start to pursue. They will need their ISU ID number. That's really easy for them to find. They just need to log into my.isu.edu, and it'll be in the top left-hand corner. And that ID number is going to be a useful thing for them to use in many areas. So they need to be familiar with how to find that. And wanted to point out that this does not apply to College of Technology students, as Alyssa just said. Also, like Alyssa said, we want students to be pursuing something. So we will have them take the Focus to Career assessments. Uh, I've got the website up there. I've also got the QR code. The access code for them to use is Bengals. And we want them to take 5 self assessments: work interest, values, personality, skills, and leisure. They can take more if they want, but we want them to take this so they get an idea of what they might want to pursue if they come to college after high school. That way, we can advise them appropriately with their general education requirements and make sure that the general education requirement they're taking as an early college student will also apply to their intended major. That way, they can double dip, so to speak. We don't want them to, okay, I took an objective 4 in high school, but it's not the same objective 4 my major needs. I'm going to have to take an extra class. I also mentioned the degree audits. Students will meet with their advisor for a degree audit beginning fall of their junior year. During a degree audit, we're going to track their progress towards the degree. We're going to advise them. We're going to recommend, okay, you should take these courses earlier. Your school offers these options. These are the ones that you might want to be taking. But before they have that degree audit, they will need to submit unofficial transcripts at least 2 days before this meeting. And we'll talk more about unofficial transcripts later. I've got the QR code for the place they should upload the transcripts right here. And if you can stop sharing your screen so I can share mine. This is what a degree audit form looks like. So when we make this, we will share this with the student and we will share it with the advisor. So you will have access to this to see how your student is progressing towards their associate's degree. So as we sit down with them, we'll look at the transcripts and say, okay, Objective 1, English 1101. You took that from CEI. It plugs it in here. It plugs in the credits, counts the credits down at the bottom. These are the 9 general education objectives here. Up here, we'll plug in the 6 from the college the College of Arts and Letters. Here are the other 9, and then general education requirements. So it's really easy to see how many credits has my student done. And when I work with a student and I do this, I will color code it so that all classes they've completed will be green. Classes that are in progress will be yellow. And once they become seniors, I will put classes that they have not completed as red so they know what they really need to get on to do that. Now, for the graduation process, we want to make sure that you understand that early college students are summer graduates. They have to have completed high school before we can award them the degree. So the timeline for this process is that they want to complete a final degree audit check with us in November or December. We want to make sure that we get this degree audit done while they still have an entire semester to take classes if they need them. They'll also apply for graduation in February or March. And if they choose to, they can RSVP for commencement. This is optional, but they do have the option to walk down here at ISU with the rest of the spring graduates. If they do plan to commence, they also want to order an ISU cap and gown. This is also March and April. And then after the student has graduated from high school and after they have completed all of the required early college classes, they will send us their official transcripts and AP scores. They do that in May and June. The students will work with us to ensure they have completed these steps. We have a handy little checklist that we hand out to them in November and December so they know what to get done. It's got all of this information on it, and we will be working with them. We also, later on, will have a link to or information on how to send official transcripts and AP scores.
Okay. So we provided obviously a lot of information about the student process of the associate's degree and different College of Technology options. So we want to spend a few minutes discussing some ways that you can support your degree seeking students who are trying to get a degree while they're in high school. So these are just a few things that we, brainstormed that would be helpful. The first thing is to encourage your students to meet with their early college transition advisor. That's me and Cameron if they're getting an associate's degree in university studies, or Alyssa if they're getting something in the College of Technology. One thing that we want to emphasize is that as CCAs and as counselors, you're very knowledgeable and you have direct contact with the students that we don't necessarily have. So you're extremely valuable. But we are the ISU experts and we want to meet with your students to advise them. So we would ask that you direct them towards us for their advising. Which kind of goes into the second point of keeping in contact with early college program staff. This includes helping us know which students are getting degrees. Sometimes we find it'll be about this time at the very end of the school year, and we're getting all these students that are getting associate's degrees that we didn't even know were getting associate's degrees. And it's kind of, we have to play catch up with those students. So it's really helpful if as soon as you know a student is interested, you let us know so that we can start reaching out and helping them. And then, of course, letting us know how we can support your efforts. We're here to help you with whatever you need. We also know that you are the expert of your specific high school. These students have to have graduated high school before they can get a degree. So completing their high school graduation requirements really should be their top priority, and you're the expert on that. So obviously that's helpful for students to keep that in mind. Um, and then sharing available resources. So at the end of our slideshow, we're going to share some resources that are available for you and for students. And any of these resources, if students, need them, um, you can give those to them, as well as reminding students of important dates and deadlines. So for example, like the graduation checklist, we kind of have a rough schedule of when students should be completing certain things. A lot of times students, as I'm sure you know, need a little bit of a reminder of when things are due. So that can be helpful. And if students are not completing things by the required deadlines, we'll often reach out to you as well and say, hey, could you get on this student a little bit? So I do quickly want to go over DegreeWorks. This is something that students have access to kind of track the progress of their degree. They will only have access to this once they're listed as a degree-seeking student in ISU's system. So if they're going to this and it's not popping up, it's probably because we don't know that they are in the are planning on completing the degree. And so just reach out to us if this isn't popping up and we can get them listed as a degree-seeking student. But this, I would say it's a very helpful resource, but it should not replace meeting with one of us as an advisor because it will show university general requirements, major requirements, electives in progress, all of that. But it it shows it in a very helpful way. But number one, it only shows ISU classes. So if they have taken other college classes, that's not going to be on there. And number two, it doesn't necessarily categorize it exactly the same as our degree audits. So while it is helpful to track progress, we do suggest that students still meet with us. But they can find it on My ISU. We have an early college program card that they can bookmark, and there's a link specifically to DegreeWorks. Once they get into DegreeWorks, there's going to be a spot, it's going to list their student ID and their name and degree. It's probably automatically going to pull them as a non-degree seeking student because that's what all early college students all have that on there. But they can click a little drop-down box and switch it to their Associate of Arts, or if they're a College of Tech student, whatever certificate or degree they're getting. I do want to show you really quickly what this looks like. So I have this pulled up for a student who's getting an Associate of Arts in University Studies. It's going to show everything that's required. So this student has the minimum GPA of 2.0. It shows in progress that they're working on their residency credits. They have no incomplete grades. All the ones that are just red little circles are incomplete. So you can see this student, so these ones you can see like objectives 1, 2, and 3, they still need to take classes from. Objective 4 they're working on, you can see they're currently in a Spanish class. So once they finish that, part of Objective 4 will be fulfilled, but they'll still need something from either the humanities or the fine arts. Same thing with science. Looks like they took astronomy, but they're still going to need one more class. So, like I said, it can be really helpful just for kind of tracking what's still needed. And what I really like about it is that it will show what classes they can take. So let's say, for example, the student needs something from Objective 9. It'll show, these are all the options for Objective 9. And if you click on it, it'll give a course description. So that can be helpful. Um, and then electives, of course, are down here. It's not going to necessarily show electives in the same way that these do of like a complete check mark or a red circle to show it's incomplete. It's just going to list them here. So if they're missing credits, it's not going to be as obvious. So that's why, again, I say they really should be meeting with us to check that degree audit process and instead of just relying on this. But it is a great resource. So Alyssa, did you want to add something here as well?
No, just the College of Technology degrees, you have to know what type of certificate they're getting and then what the title of the actual certificate is. Sometimes it can be a little tougher to find. So if you can't find it, you can always reach out to me and I can help, or your student can.
Perfect.
We also wanted to make sure that you know what the students are in for when it comes to costs. So courses cost $75 per credit for early college students, but students are also responsible for paying for the following: any additional course or lab fees, textbooks, now that does not include College of Technology, parking passes for on-campus classes. There's a $20 graduation application fee, and some exam fees they're required to pay for. And we also want to make sure that you know that students are responsible for keeping track of their finances. They should be logging into My ISU to see how much they know, just so that it doesn't come around time to graduate and they realize, oh, I owe $4,000. I can't pay for that. Right? A lot of that is on the student. Many of you might be familiar with Advanced Opportunities. Advanced Opportunities pays for up to $4,625 towards early college credits. That's about, I think it's 61 and a third credits, maybe 61 and 2/3. The associate's degree is 60 credits. So realistically, the students are probably going to have to pay out of pocket for a class or two, just so students are aware that that's something they have to look forward to in the future. I do have the QR code here for Advanced Opportunities if they want to look into that. And we also want to point out that if a student withdraws or fails a course, they have to pay for and pass another early college course out of their pocket to have their Advanced Opportunities funds usable again. So that's something students should be very aware of. We also want to determine if it's the right choice, right? An associate's degree is rigorous. Like I said, it's 60 credits minimum. Full-time undergraduate students at ISU take between 12 and 18 credits per semester. So this associate's degree is equal to the rigor of 2 years of undergraduate studies, sometimes a little bit more. We want to make sure students understand what they're getting into, but also understand that if they start the associate's degree and decide that it's not for them, it's not wasted credits. These credits are going to work. We also have resources for students, right? Academic advising, not just us as early college, but also some of the tutoring centers here on campus. If they know what their major is, they can talk to some of the advisors there, maybe get a head start on their college. We have various information sheets that we've created. Reach out to us if you want one. There's a sheet on how to view unofficial transcripts from Idaho institutions and have them sent to us. And we also have one for how to send the AP scores. We have one on AA degree tips for success. Like I mentioned, we have one for a graduation checklist. We also have created another Wednesday webinar for student benefits. You can find that on our YouTube page. Alyssa, did you want to jump in here?
Yes, so the College of Technology has some additional resources specific to College of Technology students. So we have all of the, through the early college office, students that have that available to them, everything that Cameron just mentioned, even if they are College of Technology students, but also we also have a College of Technology specific tutoring center that they can come to where people who are very familiar with the specific programs that they will be in, the applied knowledge that they'll be learning, will be able to tutor them in those classes. And then we also have lab space. So if students are in, for example, the auto collision program, they are able to come outside of class time if their schedule allows to work through their projects. So those labs are often available even outside of class time. Typically not in the evenings, but if they had time at other times of the day open, in their high school schedule, they'd be able to use those. And then we also have computer labs available. This is probably most beneficial to students who are within driving distance, who are taking online classes. If they would like access to our computers and the programs that we have here, we've got space for that, where they can work and even be in the same building as the instructors who are teaching their classes. And so if they need to go ask them questions or things like that, those are available as well.
All right. So that's all we have. If you have any questions about any of the programs that are offered, um, anything we went over or anything else early college related, here's our contact information one more time, and you can always reach out to us. So thank you so much.